around the summit that is planned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Roger. It's a pleasure to follow the chair of the Science and Technology Committee, of which I'm a member, and I'd like to congratulate the member for Boston and Skegness for securing this debate and the Backbench Business Committee for allowing it. Sir Roger, I used to be a computer programmer, so I like tech. I need to put that out there first of all, and I do think that this debate around AI falls into the category of three kind of types of people, and I relate those three types of people to some of my friends that I used to go out partying with. One would get completely kind of wasted. One would just sit in a corner and don't want to get involved. And me, I'd be the driver, so I'm the one that stays sober but enjoys the party. And so for this debate, I like to think that I'm the one that's staying sober and enjoying the party and making sure that everyone and myself gets home safely.
What should we give I wonder if I could invite my honourable friend to just inform the House which of us was the one that got wasted in this debate.
I think my friend wouldn't look kindly on me if I was to say her name, but I always made sure she got home safely. So that's the main thing. But Sir Roger, the MP for Streatham said to me the other day that she asked ChatGPT to write a letter for her constituents from her to the dangers of AI. And this is what ChatGPT churned out. Dear constituent, thank you for reaching out to me with your concerns about large language model AI. I share your worries about the potential risks that this technology poses, and I appreciate the opportunity to address them. As you may be aware, large language model AI is an advanced form of artificial intelligence that can generate human-like text by training on vast amounts of data. While this technology has shown tremendous potential in various fields, including language translations, chatbots, and content creation, it also presents significant ethical, social, and legal challenges. One of the main concerns about large language model AI is its potential to perpetuate biases and discrimination. If the data used to train these models are biased, the AI will learn and replicate those biases in its output, leading to harmful outcomes. Moreover, these models have the ability to generate highly realistic but entirely fake text, which could be used to spread disinformation, manipulate public opinion, and even harm individuals. Therefore, I believe the regulation and governance of large language model AI are essential to ensure that it is used ethically and responsibly. The UK government has been actively engaging with the tech industry, academia and civil society to understand the implications of AI and develop a regulatory framework that promotes innovation while safeguarding human rights and values. So that, to me, Sir Roger, is a clear example that even the AI recognises that there are some issues with AI and we need to have clear regulations, which we currently haven't quite got. So there is still time in the government's white paper to change that, and I hope that having debates like this will enable that to happen. And many members today discussed the medical advancements and how we can use AI, which I think is really important, and using quantum computers is going to be important to find medicines and solutions a lot quicker. But something that I raised when we took evidence in the Science and Technology Committee is even simple things like body mass index is a flawed measurement that's used in the medical world. And having AI that's built using BMI means that you are integrating that bias into anything that AI will produce. And for those people that don't know, body mass index was a concept not created by a doctor, but an astronomer and mathematician in the 1800s. And what he was trying to do was identify le homme moyen, the average men. That's what he was trying to do in statistical terms. It was never meant to be used in the medical world in the way that it has. And BMI can stop people from getting certain medical procedures if their BMI is too high. So if we don't rule that out, and the evidence that we took in the Science and Technology Committee there was no evidence that we were going to rule out or mitigate against a flawed system like BMI in the medical profession and world. And we should be really concerned and worried about this, because in 10 or 20 years' time, it's going to be too late to explain that BMI was always discriminatory against women or Asian men or black people. So this is why we need to get this right now. That's the importance of it. And I recognise the huge risks, as I say, of AI, huge benefits, but I also really stress that we need to stay sober and recognise the huge risks, because some of these organisations, when we ask them, where do you get your data from, it's very opaque. They're not telling us where they're getting their data from. And some of these organisations, as I understand it, have got their mass data scraping from places like Reddit. As we know, that's not really a place that you would go to be informed on many things. And what we are doing, if we don't take this seriously, is we are automating discrimination. And it will become so easy to just accept what the system's telling us, that those people that are marginalised at the moment will become further marginalised. It is true that almost most AI-powered systems have shown to contain bias, and be that against people of colour, women, people with disabilities. That was shown in passport applications, where the system kept saying that a person had their eyes closed, whereas they didn't. They actually had a disability, and other protected characteristics. So we do have to make sure that we measure the impact on the public's rights and freedoms along with this advancement in AI. You can't get too carried away and drunk with all the benefits of AI without thinking about everything else. In the beginning, I thought that it was reasonable for the government to say we will just expand legislation that we already have. But actually, taking evidence on the committee, I realised that we need to go a lot further, and we actually need something like a digital bill of rights, so that people understand and know their rights and it's protected, because at the moment that's not the case. And it was really stark, actually, taking some information from in regards to musicians and music and our voices. Our voices are currently not protected. So with the advancements of deep fake, anybody in this house could have their voice attached to something of a deep fake, and we've got no legal recourse to that, because at the moment our voices are not protected. So we need to have, I believe, a digital bill of rights that would outlaw the most dangerous uses of AI, which should have no place in a real democracy. I think the government should commit to strengthening the rights of the public, so that they know what is AI generated, or whether their facial recognition, whether their digital imprint of their face is being used in any way. We know that, for instance, the Met Police has millions of people's images on file that should not be there, innocent people. Those should be taken off of the police database, because the consequences of that is that if you've got an innocent person's face on the database and at some point that's put on a watch list, the domino effect of that is that they could be accused for doing something that they haven't done. The UK's approach to AI currently diverges from our closest trading partners, and I find that quite strange. It isn't a good thing, and there is this apparent trade-off against progress and safety. I think we should always err on the caution of safety and ethics. Progress will always happen. You cannot stop progress. Companies will always invest in AI. It is the future, so we don't have to worry about that. People will run away with that. What we have to do is ensure that we protect people's safety, because otherwise in the UK, instead of being industry leaders, we will be known as the country that's got kind of shoddy practices. Yeah. And that's something that, or poor practices, that's something that nobody really wants. And there are countries at the moment that are outlawing how facial recognition is used, for instance, but we're not doing that in the UK. So we are increasingly looking like the outliers in this discussion and protection around AI. And the government's first job is to protect its citizens. And so we should be protecting citizens now to the dangers of AI. There are already harms that are already arising from AI, and the government's recently published white paper takes the view, as I say, that strong, clear protections are simply not needed. I think the government's wrong on that. Strong, clear protections are most definitely needed and is needed now. And I don't think the government's got, even if the government just catches up with what's happening in Europe and the US, that would be more than we're doing at the moment. We need new legally binding regulations. The white paper currently has plans to water down data rights and data protection. And the Digital Information Bill paints an alarming picture. The bill will redefine what counts as personal data. Now, all of these things have been put in place piecemeal to ensure that personal data is protected. If we lower that definition of what's personal data, that means that any company can use our personal data for anything that they want, and we've got very limited recourse to stop that. At the end of the day, our personal data is what ultimately powers many AI systems, and it will be left ripe for exploitation and abuse. And this is woefully inadequate. The scale of the challenge, Sir Roger, is vast. But instead of reining in this technology, the government's approach is to let it off the leash, and I think that is problematic. And in regards to one of the evidence that we received from the representative from the Met Police, she had said that she's got nothing to hide. So what's the problem, for instance, in having the fingerprint, if you like, of her face everywhere that she goes? And I say to that I'm sure all of us will have either curtains or blinds in our houses. If you're not doing anything illegal, why have curtains and blinds? Why not just let everybody look into your house? Most abuse happens in the home, so surely, on that argument, if we're allowed to look into everybody's house, then we'll be able to eliminate a lot of abuse. In our country, we have the right to privacy. People should have the right to privacy. Our fingerprints should not be taken without our consent. We police by consent. I think that the Met's use of live facial recognition, retrospective facial recognition, is worrying. I had a meeting with Mark Rowley just the other day, and to be honest, he didn't really understand what the implications were. And I think that is a worry. And I think a lot of us and a lot of people with this AI debate, I could easily get carried away and get drunk with this AI debate, but I'm the driver. So, Roger, I need to stay sober to make sure everyone gets home safely. Thank you.
Joe Gideon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker.